How's everyone doing tonight? Almost went live muted, but I think I caught it, and I think you should have audio. Get my own pulled up, verify everything's good. No real agenda, no real itinerary, no outline for the night. Just gonna chat about what people want to chat about. Uh, that's the way I do a lot of these. I just wait for people to lead me down some road, and then that's usually how we end up talking about all the crazy things that come up. But yeah. Any questions? Feel free to drop them. Any prompts? Any topics you want covered? I can just start going once I get some prompts. Wonder said, "What's taking so long? For all of us waiting, do we get free signed Metazu cards?" I'm not like I didn't accidentally schedule it early, did I? I think I scheduled it for 10 o'clock. I hope. I hope I hadn't what's that on your beard? Food. Do I have food on my beard? I could. But yeah, I hope I didn't schedule it for like 9 or 9:30. I think I scheduled it for 10 right off the bat. But sorry, I'm just getting my all my windows sorted. Who else is ready to grab cash? L Dub's always in here early, ready to grab cash. Gym leader Pepe, how's it going? Panga, appreciate you listening back tomorrow to get you through your workday. Understand you can't always be there. I didn't realize there were so many lives scheduled. YouTube has this weird thing where I think it's good to be proactive and it's good to schedule things out. But if you schedule them too far out, it's almost easy to forget them because the way I constantly find myself using the subscriptions feed and like Pokemon Wonder was live with Java and or wait, was that tonight? Yeah, I know Bierski. No, Bierski was live with Java. That's right. Bierski was live with Java. PK was live. But yeah, like Bierski's was scheduled quite a while ago, and it doesn't show up in my subscriptions feed for like a recent or upcoming video. I think, I mean, if all the execs at YouTube are listening, I think when a live stream is scheduled a week out, it should show in my subscriptions feed like, hey, put this on your calendar. It's coming out in a week. But then the day of, it should kind of like jump back to the front, and it doesn't, as far as I know, or at least where I look. So I kind of like lose track of some of those scheduled far out ahead live streams. I'm actually gonna be. I guess that's one thing I can talk about. I'm gonna be on Retro's channel. I think we're doing 9:30 p.m. Eastern Friday. So that's gonna be a good. We're let's talk business. I believe he's calling it. It's gonna be a little bit of a series. I don't know who else he has lined up, but I'm getting slotted into episode 1, so I'm excited for that. Um, Mr. Walrus, true 5% consignments available. Still with that name. Surprised he's running it so long, but I appreciate it. How's it going, Johto Giraffe? We got the Mexican hipster. What's that? I can't tell. I mean, I think he's just messing with me, but I don't know. It definitely could be food there. Beard looking nice, Dan. It's not where it was this time last year, I don't think. I have referred back, like my recap videos. I did recap videos the last 2 weeks. Well, one was recap and then one was predictions for the year. I had to go back and I had to rewatch. Very rarely do I watch my own videos, but I had to go back and rewatch. And I think the beer game was a little stronger midwinter last year. So I probably will end up cutting it before Dallas, but maybe I'll make it straight till Dallas without cutting it beforehand. My wife, if she's listening, won't be happy about that. I'll probably get a text in a minute. But um Walrus asked me to ask you to do this live without your shirt, not sure why. Mr. Walrus had to be just completely in his element in 2020, 2021, whatnot, because the shirts were flying off there, the wheels were spinning, all the lights were flashing, all the good stuff was happening in those live streams back then. But I think that's toned down a little bit. I don't know if that they did away with that along with a lot of the gambling, but I think that's a lot less prevalent than it was during its heyday. Um, Man, my stream runs so far behind. I accidentally just turned my audio on and runs so far behind. How's it going, Swami? Nice to see you here. Screw it, we'll do it live. Dan, can Clark have $6 today? I don't know if I'm missing. I must be missing a reference. Clark have. But yeah, what's everyone up to? Dan's starting to look like Yukon Cornelius from the Rudolph movie. um, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to leave them in there. Yeah, I see a little bit of football talk going on. I'm rooting for the Taylor Swifties. I'm rooting for. I know probably like. I mean, years back, I was a very big being a Jets fan. I was very big rooting against like the Patriots, rooting against the dynasty. Mahomes nowhere near that territory, but I think he gets some amount of hate. He gets some amount like if you're good. I mean, I can acknowledge Tom Brady was a very good quarterback, and when you're good, you draw some amount of hate. People will either love you if you're winning for them, or they'll hate you if you're beating them. So I definitely recognize that I'm kind of rooting for, in a way, the evil that I hated years back. But I really enjoy watching the Chiefs play, and Kelsey's a monster. I've always liked Kelsey, and then Mahomes just been electric since early on. And being a Jets fan, it's like very quickly into the season. I usually like 4 plays in, Rodgers Achilles goes. I need to have another team to root for. I need to have something to like go for. That's why I do all this gambling, all these daily betting apps. Not gambling advice. Please don't get into those if you have propensities to have issues with stuff like that. But it makes it more entertaining. Like I need something to watch, something to root for, and Kansas City's kind of been like a secondary team for the past few years. So I'm pulling for them. I don't know. I mean, I think Ravens are kind of stand out as they're probably going to win it. I think on the betting books though, San Fran. I think San Fran is the favorite as far as betting books go. The main reason for that might be their lack of competition getting to the Super Bowl. Like obviously, Buffalo, Baltimore. I think a lot of people are counting out the Texans pretty much universally. I think they're the longest shot to win. But yeah, Baltimore, Chiefs, Buffalo, all three are fully capable of representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Whereas in the NFC, I think it's more like okay, it's probably going to be the Niners. So that's probably why they get the advantage when it comes to betting. But Leaf Green Goblin is applying for jobs. Walrus was never able to sleep with those shirtless live streams. Never changing my name. People asking me to consign cards. Smart. I mean, it's very smart. Um, no one even says Chiefs anymore. She's taken over the team name too. Mahomie is an alien. Yeah, I'm a fan. I knew Taylor Swift before she got big. Not as much of a fan these days, but I did watch her back when she used to open. She used to open at state fairs for other acts. So I watched her back then. Um, Here's our first Pokemon question coming in. How is taking in all your product from distribution for months now? How are you offloading those bags? I've talked about it a little bit here and there, but if anyone follows my eBay closely, I know that there's some people out there that follow eBay's fairly closely to try to find plays. You're not going to find much lately from me because it's mostly consignments. I'm not making too many plays, especially this school year. But anyways, a lot of it's going to eBay. Some amount of it has been being sold break even, slight loss on eBay just to get my processes down. Like back when Troll and Toad hit me with that bombshell almost a year ago now. I want to say it was February timeframe. Maybe a few weeks from now, a year ago, is when Troll and Toad hit me with that email. I did not know what sizes of boxes to ship anything in. I primarily am dealing by the case because I would much rather ship 1 case of ETBs, 2 cases of ETBs. I actually do volume quantity discounts or volume price discounts. I strongly encourage people to buy in multiples of 2 or 4, especially booster cases. 4 booster cases fit sub 50 pounds, 20 by 12 by 12. It's a beautiful thing when someone orders 4 ultra modern booster cases because you can pop them in one box and go. I don't want to ship 24 individual booster boxes. I think more likely to, when you sell the product that is cardboard, the external packaging is cardboard and the stop tape. When you sell that, I have not yet have hopefully I don't in the future, but I've not yet had any issues with people saying like, "Oh, the shrink wrap has a tiny tear," or X or Y or Z. I know that some people have commented about like, "Oh, this seller ships not double box, whatever." I double box all of it. I charge a little more. I usually will not be the cheapest on eBay on any of these things, but right in my description I put that I double box it all. So double boxing everything. A lot of this stuff comes fairly rough from distribution. I get it straight from distribution, put it on the shelf. Occasionally I turn around and sell it on eBay. Some of them look pretty rough. Some of them, the tape part of it is like, I haven't had an issue yet of selling, hey, these things are going to have some shelfware. These things are not going to be like PSA 10 sealed booster cases. So overall, I've been really happy with how it's gone. The prices of what we've got going on. 151 is trickling out like at a decent little margin. I'm selling sealed sealed ETB cases. I'm selling sealed Mew UPC cases. Just recently, I lost the ability to restock on Mew UPC cases, but yeah, it's been going well. I'm getting my processes down, kind of figuring out on the storage side how and where and how much quantity I can have. I'm looking into some offsite options. I'm actually gonna have a video coming up, hopefully in the next. A lot of times when I get an idea for a video that takes like a month or two out at least, probably. I feel like I'm getting close, nowhere near Old Skool Pokemon Nick territory of all these promises that have not yet come through. But Catch 'em all collectibles, personal finance, like household budget video, very relevant to me as a business owner. Me as like I need to fund all of our household expenses between my income, my wife's income, all that stuff. I think that's something very relevant. A lot of people ask, like, should I start a Pokemon business today? Well, do you need to withdraw 100 grand a year from it to live? Or can you live off 2 grand a month, 3 grand a month? Like, very different answers, very relevant, like how much you're spending personally to get by on whether or not you should start a business, whether or not this can sustain your livelihood. So, yeah, that video is coming. A video on what I'm doing with some ultra modern product. I've actually talking about it more. Very small channel, very small reach, but a little bit of word of mouth is getting out. I was buying out a year and a half ago now. I started buying out a bunch of Troll and Toad Evo inventories, and I can't do that anymore because I can't put new stuff in my Troll and Toad Evo. But one thing I've been doing, I've been buying and selling thin margins, but higher dollar values. Sometimes the numbers work to where it's like I can connect people who want to buy and who want to sell. Like I'm buying some ultra modern sealed, depending on what it is, 70 to 90, 95%. If it's something I want anyways, I'll pay up to 95% on certain things. So reach out to me if you've got high quantity, talking up to pallet quantity of ultra modern sealed product. If you've got like battle decks, if you've got like tins and a lot of the less, I mean, things that my distributor has, that's going to be like 70%, maybe even less. I don't think I've seen anything in any quantity that I've had to go less than 70% on yet. But 70% is not like a guaranteed I'll pay 70% on anything. Because if someone hits me with like a pallet of just straight battle decks, or I'm not even going to offer on that. But I've had success paying 70 to 85% on booster cases. Well, booster cases are a lot more towards 85%, and then I've been able to like facilitate moving them to some other people at 90, 95%. It's actually been kind of interesting. Just the shift, not really planned. It's just kind of happened, and as things change in the market, as things change, as consignment options close, as Troll and Toad Evo closes, you maybe a window doesn't open by itself, but you go around and you start opening some windows for yourself, right? Sorry, I'm gonna scroll back up. I know I got on a little bit there, but yeah, let me go back. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Mr. Warris's true 5% consignments are 95% for him, 5% for you. See, I do it the other way around. I go 95% for you, 5% for me. But Walrus is there if you're interested. True 5%, baby. Dan, if you were a vegetarian, which Pokemon would taste better, Metapod or Kakuna? I don't know that vegetarians eat caterpillars, do they? I don't think those would pass for most vegetarians. So I would go neither. I think that was a trick question. I think he was testing me. Um, has any Pokemon recently grown on you? Could be any gen. Uh, I'm not one to be like so against any like some people are just so like Klefki, Trubbish. I feel like these are the ones Vanillish, Vanillux. These are the ones that people immediately point to, like, oh, what a terrible Pokemon. I mean, Garbodor, Trubbish, literal trash Pokemon. I don't have such extremes. It's like I like Quaxley, I like Gengar, I like Charmander, I like all these ones behind me. I like a lot more of them. I'm not in love with any of them. Like I don't have a far and away favorite top one better than all of them, and I don't have any that are just like these are the absolute worst. I just don't swing so wildly. I guess I wasn't programmed to have such wide swinging emotions. Any idea where I can get the best prices on Shiny Treasure EX Booster Box with Shrink? Hit up Retrospecs. So I actually I've been meaning to. I've been organizing some shelves retro. I'm gonna get a nice picture of one of my Japanese shelves, and I'm gonna tag Retro and try to send some people his way. He facilitated. He kind of middleman. He sourced 100 boxes of Shiny Treasure EX booster boxes with Shrink for me. Legitimate product, no issues. It was all great. It was better than I could get on eBay, better than I could get on any main site. It was, I mean, he has his connections, maybe some direct, maybe some through, but yeah, Retro is one of my multiple. He's a US side connection, a US side plug for some Japanese product at good prices. So hit up Retrospecs, slide on in those DMs if you're looking, and you want to beat eBay prices. You want to beat pretty much all. For me at least, he was able to quantity 100. He was able to beat any price that I could find anywhere else. I do have a couple direct Japanese contacts, and on that given day, he was able to beat all those as well. Sets like that, they fluctuate a bunch. But yeah, reach out to Retro if you're looking for any Japanese sealed product. Pokemon rooting for Ravens. I think he's got a couple Lamar rookies tucked away. um, the Bears playoff teams only. Uh, let's see. So we got a lot of NFL. Got a lot of NFL banter going on. You'll love to see it. Oh, I just lost where I was. Here we go. I'm back. 95%. This guy sounds like an investor. So again, call it what you will. I'll definitely make a couple more. I think the formula for especially around the new year, the formula for high views is like 4 words: Pokemon, investments, investing, some form of invest, and then the year. So 2024 Pokemon investing, 2024 best Pokemon investments. Like 3 words. Two are already taken, and then the year, and you are going to get like, I forget what I titled my video exactly, but the video Monday 2024 Pokemon market predictions. Like that's a good click. I can't say clickbait. I mean, it does bait in a click, but then I deliver. I deliver providing a video actually what it covers. But yeah, I still don't think what I'm doing is investing. But that said, some people might love this, some people might hate this. I'm going to make a video in the coming month or two on the Pokemon investing space and a lot more in-depth look at it, how, if I were to do it, how I would do it and what exactly it would look like, and the pros and the cons. It might be a multi-part video depending on how I go about doing it. But yeah, I think I have a fun idea, a fun little experiment to do with that. But if I want something anyways, like I was trying to get some amount of position in Sword and Shield era booster boxes. I wanted to, and I offloaded a little bit of Scarlet and Violet because I think it's going to be around for quite a while. So I shifted some funds around, shifted some inventory around. It's something a lot of businesses will tend to do. Take a look at how much cash they have, take a look at how much inventory they have, and do a little bit of finessing in late year, and I mean throughout the year too. But if I want to add 4 cases of battle styles and it's not available at my distributors, or say it's even Chilling Rain, or say it's Fusion Strike, whatever it may be. If I'm buying it anyways, I'm willing to pay. I mean, if I want it that bad, I'll pay 100% on market, right? I'll just go on TCG Player and buy it. Through TCG Player, I maxed out my. I forget if it wasn't Black Friday. It was more recent than that, or maybe it was Black Friday. I don't know. I maxed out my I bought myself gift cards and got like a 20% discount buying TCG Player gift cards. So that was functionally buying stuff at like 80% of market. And I'll even go a little bit higher than that because that had a cap on it. Obviously, that was limited. That was not without limits. But let's see. Dan not even buying and selling anymore. He's just a middleman now. I'm doing my best to not buy a ton of stuff. But if people have like a lot of quantity of things that I think are pretty good and things that I don't have access to anymore, absolutely. Like I, I don't know that I'll change my business card, but I think on it I say reach out about eBay, buy it now consignment for your graded cards, always buying collections. So I kind of say it without saying it, but reach out about eBay, buy it now consignment for your graded cards. Very rarely, if ever lately, am I buying graded cards. Like, I grade my own cards. I don't want to buy, like, I'm going to offer you 50% or something. I don't even want to pay 50% on most graded cards. I would rather just consign it and take 5% and you get 95%. Like, I don't want to put all that capital into it. I think overall, they're a lot more subject to price movements very, very quickly. So yeah, I want to be a consignment seller on graded cards. I want to grade my own cards, buy raw, sell graded, and then buying primarily sealed and raw. I want to buy raw if it's gradable. I really don't want to deal too much in raw that's not gradable. Obviously, some amount of stuff you got to buy it, you got to sift through what's gradable and then get rid of the not gradable. But I don't want to buy entire collections that are like just inherently like none of it's going to be gradable. Like I don't really want to do that. I want to be just in stuff that I can kind of skim out, separate out the gradable. I want to be the highest margin stuff. Like I've made so many videos talking about one man 40 hours, whether it's 20 hours per week, 40, 80, 100 hours per week, however many hours you have, that's a fixed amount, right? The only way I can make my hourly go up, my salary, my income go up is by increasing my hourly rate, by increasing my average sale price, my average margin. And a bad way of doing that is to buy and spend time buying slabs, honestly, and tying up all that extra capital. And there's enough slabs to sell and just take that risk-free cut. Definitely a good strategy. It's 10:15 p.m. and I have an 8-minute backlog. Uh, on the topic of personal finance, thoughts on having both a traditional and a Roth IRA versus having one or the other based on what benefits you most. I like I've been falling into a lot more finance content lately on YouTube, and I just really enjoy all the optimization that comes from personal finances. And very rarely, I know it's kind of like a meme in some circles. I think like all the way one way is too extreme, wrong. All the way the other way is wrong. Somewhere in the middle, the answer, like we live and exist in gray areas. It's not black or white. People say that I'm on the fence. That is just where the answers are, and where the optimal outcome, the optimal way to do business is normally in the middle. Some blend. So just very quick, like 10-year history of me and my family and what we've done. We had our first child back in 2018. Each child that we had, my wife took maternal leave. I took a little bit of paternal leave too. I took 6 weeks in 18, and I think I took 8 or 9 weeks in 2020. Those weeks, sorry, those years, our income as a household were artificially lower than they would have been otherwise because one of us was not working, both of us were not working for some small amount of time. Pandemic 2020 got weird because like all the Pokemon income. But when your income is artificially low, if that ever happens, I mean, that's not going to happen for everybody. If your income is artificially low, that is when you would tend to want to go Roth more. So the years that my income was artificially low and earlier in my career when I was solo, or actually, I guess it would have even been more optimal when I got married because I made more than my wife made. And our average, our marginal income rate was lower, married filing jointly over single filing single. So yeah, there were some times early on, 2011 to 2014 timeframe, that I did a little bit of Roth. I did a little bit more Roth. In hindsight, I probably would have done a lot more Roth, almost primarily, all the way to 2020. I had not known what was going to happen in 2020, and I had not known how much money I was going to be making 2021 through 2024 and beyond, at least for now. But as of right now, making a lot of money at a much higher marginal tax bracket, put in traditional. And again, getting a lot like deeper down the rabbit holes of personal finance and all that. Theoretically, at some point in the next 3 decades, between now and when I might start taking this money out, 3-4 decades, you can do Roth conversions of your traditional accounts. So if there's ever a year where for some reason on paper or in reality, I'm losing money or I'm making almost no money, I can take some amount of my traditional that I put in pre-tax. I can do a Roth conversion. I mean, there are certain people that put in for 10 years traditionally. They retire early, they fire, however you want to call it. And then they do Roth conversions for a decade. They max out Roth with pre-tax money functionally. Very, very like in-depth, needs to be special circumstances, needs to be done right. No laws being broken, but you can actually like navigate through life very, very much minimizing the amount of taxes you pay. I don't make the rules, I just play by them. So in a perfect world, one with ebbs and flows, one with unexpected things, you have a little bit of both. If you are on a linear projection, if you start here and you make more without any break in that, without any years of lesser income due to maternity leave, due to whatever, maybe up to some point you do traditional, up to some point you do Roth, and then and maybe you make too much money for Roth, so then you need to look into backdoor Roth, mega backdoor Roth. Like there are so many. I could literally talk for hours. I will prevent doing it because this is a Pokemon channel, Pokemon content. I could talk for hours on this topic, fed with the right questions and with the right engagement and stuff. Like finance podcast is almost certainly going to happen at some point. Not anytime soon, but at some point. Dan is forsaking Quaxley. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. How have I forsaken Quaxley? I mean, I like Quaxley, but like no one is my far and away favorite. Like I really like Quaxley. It's a bit of a meme. I'm a big fan of the duck, but I can't say he's my number one far and away. Like I like Charmander, I like Pikachu, Charizard, Dragonite, Mewtwo. Like most are Gen 1, but every so often you get a Quaxley to come along and he steals your heart. We are definitely not ripping the 30th anniversary boxes tonight. There's got to be a Pokemon with a beard. There's got to be a few. Alolan, Weezing, and Golem. Dan with the sparkling endorsement. Hobbies saved. Yeah, at some point, Retro, I'll get you a. I don't need an affiliate link or anything, though that would be nice. Hey, tell Retro Dan sent you. Maybe you'll buy me an IP at Collecticon. Buy me one IPA at Collecticon for every like $10,000 of sales that I generate for you. That's my affiliate code. Retrospecs, I'm looking for MZ master cases. Hook it up. Hey, you don't need Retro to hook that up because your boy right here. I should do a little bit of self promo. I will probably be linking. I think my short Friday is going to be directing people to my website. Like, hey, I just slashed my whole Troll and Toad Evo inventory by 10 to 20%, depending on what it was. Not only 10 to 20%. So if I was low listed, I went down at least 10% minimum on everything. If I was like, if somebody had undercut me, I went down to match, beat them by 1 cent, and then I went 20% below that. So there are some products on Troll and Toad. And I was not going to go through. My spreadsheet had 5,000 lines on it. I sorted it by price high to low, and then I sorted it by quantity high to low, and then I did a product of my quantity times price. So like my market cap, not really market cap, but kind of my market cap, like my total dollars in each item, and I sorted that by top down. I made sure nothing was too crazy. It's like I don't want to sell. I think it was trying to the formula I used was trying to adjust my Battle Styles booster boxes to like 80. I'm like, no, I'm taking those off. I think I have 4 cases of Battle Styles booster boxes left at Troll and Toad. I'm taking those back. I'm taking back 200 Charizard Ultra Premium collections. There were certain items that I am intentionally taking back, but a lot of them, some small amount are probably like stupid deals. I actually went through. I'm not calling this a stupid deal. It might be a stupid deal in that maybe you're stupid if you buy it. I don't know. Maybe you're a good investor. Maybe it pans out if you do though too. I think I lowered my price on UFO booster boxes to 20. Maybe I went to 15, which is like, oh my god. I just don't want more. I have so many here already. I think I have 100 more at Troll and Toad Evo. I really don't want 100 more. 8 cases isn't crazy, but it's like 8 cases of that plus 10 cases of Seance plus 6 cases of Wilderness, whatever I had. Certain boxes are like, I think Seance I went to 36 a box. I think market on those is like 50, maybe 45. So I'm definitely undercutting market by a decent bit on most of those. Wilderness, I don't know if I had any Wilderness there. But anyways, I think I'm going to post a link to a spreadsheet in Discord. Well, probably not in Discord. I'll probably post it just on my website. I'll probably post it on my website, and then I'll do an Instagram story, and I'll do a YouTube short that feeds people into it. It's like, hey, if you want it, it's there. Like, if someone is close on something, like say, oh, you're 5% off, 10%. Like, if you, oh no. So it said I got disconnected, and then it said reconnection successful. So hopefully I'm still here. But anyways, if someone messages me like, hey, I looked at your whole spreadsheet. I see on Troll and Toad you have 100 of these. If you went 10% lower, I would take them all. I will go in and I will edit the price 10% down, and I will, because I have 2 weeks left. I have 2 weeks from today. I just uploaded it. I think I have retail value. It's like I have 60K that I'm holding back. So 60K in retail value. It's mostly Ultra Modern Sealed. It's 200 Charizard Ultra Premium collections, which alone is 20 grand. So 1/3 of it is Charizard UPCs. And then the rest of it is like Battle Styles booster boxes. It's some like Sword and Shield era booster boxes. It's some loose packs of Sword and Shield. It's other random things too. But I lowered my listed products from 250,000 total value down to 200,000 total value. So about 20% across the board is what it averaged out to. Anywhere between 10 and 20%. Plus a little bit. Like, I think I had a Lily card from Ultra Prism that was like listed at $700, which Troll and Toad does garner a premium. Not that much of a premium. I think I lowered that one like 40%, or that one probably lowered 30 or 40%. And some other cards were along those same lines too. But anyways, I'm definitely going to do a little bit of sponsored by myself. Go buy my Troll and Toad stuff so that I don't have to take it back. Some stuff I'm going to take losses on. I want a big check, and I want a small shipment of pallets. It's going to be pallets. It's going to be multiple pallets already. I know that. I would rather have my check be bigger and my pellet quantity go down, though, even if I'm losing some money on some of that stuff, because I'm not excited. I'm not excited about that. We have, on top of that, I just bought a pallet off somebody else. I have another pallet, 2 pallets coming in from other people that I'm buying, and all my Troll and Toad Evo, and then Paldean Fates coming out all around the same time. So it's going to be a busy, yeah, Retro said himself. I'm the best plug on sealed MetaZoo. Here we go. We got a big sale hooked up for you. That's gonna get me a few IPAs. How much for 1,000 booster boxes of VMAX Climax? I don't know if that's 1K USD into VMAX Climax, or like 1,000 booster boxes of VMAX. I hope it's the latter, because that'll be a lot of IPAs at the next Collecticon. Here we go. Looks like we got a few people filtering into Retro's DMs. Would I consign sealed Japanese cases? I like those. I would rather buy them, honestly. I'm not gonna buy them at full market. Obviously, I wouldn't consign them at full market either. But depending on what you have, depending on yeah, I might just buy them. I can't quote an exact percentage, but if I were to consign them, I mean, I'm gonna pay a 12% eBay fee plus 1% if they're paying sales tax, international, whatever. I'm gonna be paying 13% on eBay. I'm gonna have to charge 20%. So if I consign it for you, I'll be paying 80% like after it sells. The risk though, like one thing about the eBay Vault consignment, they are putting themselves in the middle as the trusted third party. If I sell sealed Japanese cases, like one, you might legitimately have bad product. You might have, I mean, Rusty's been faked a little bit. I know Rusty's had issues through his sources. I haven't had any yet, but it's probably bound to happen eventually with scale, with quantity. But yeah, even if your product was good, I would have some risk of the buyer scamming me. And then there's a risk that your product's actually bad too, on top of that. So it's like there's so much more risk of me losing potentially some of the money or all of the money. I wouldn't even want to consign it for a 20% fee. I would want to consign it for like, I give you 75% after it sells because I have to allocate some amount of money for when I eventually get burned. So if I'm consigning it for 75%, I'm going to want to buy it for less than that. Like, I will probably not be your best buyer on Japanese sealed cases, depending on what they are though. Like, if it's something that I want anyways, I might pay 90% on certain Japanese sealed cases too, if I want them anyways for my own inventory. So feel free to hit me up. I might be a buyer. I mean, I would certainly be a buyer at the right price, but if the right price is too low, I'll just be like, I'm not interested. I'm not your best buyer. That is something that I do. I think I'm not alone in that. But often if I really don't want something, I'll be like, I really don't want this. I'm not going to be your best buyer. I'll either try to give you a referral to a better buyer, or I'll just say like, I can shoot you a number if you want. You probably aren't going to want it, but like, here's my number. And then sometimes they take it still for whatever reason. But if I really want something, I'm going to pay higher. If I don't want it, like, this is one of those, and this is a video I've been talking about for over a month, I think, in my pre-recorded videos. I'm going to make a video soon on rules of thumb. Like, I think rules of thumb are great. Guidelines, personal finance, this is huge. The 50-30-20 rule, how many years salary to buy a house, renting versus, like, so many rules of thumb. Taken at face value of 0. Like, they're worth what you pay for them. Very little, but worth a little bit. I guess a little bit more than you pay for them, paying nothing for them. But you can really screw things up for yourself if you blindly follow rules of thumb. Because blindly following a rule of thumb on kind of lost where I was going with that. Blindly following a rule of thumb on what my mind started going towards the finance things of like renting versus buying and all the things I was talking about. I got lost on where I was. But yeah. That's a video that'll come at some point. I'll try to keep it more Pokemon geared. Oh yeah, a flat buy percent. I think certain stores say we buy everything at 70%. We buy everything at 80%. Usually if you hit them with the right stuff, they'll be like, oh no, I'm not paying 70% on that. Like, usually you can find. I remember at Houston, there was a vendor across from me. I forget the name. They generally paid 80% on a lot of stuff. And I brought a bunch of Black Label Nagabas over to them. And they're like, yeah, we're probably not paying 80% on that. They looked up the comps, and I think they worked out like maybe 60%. I think they were offering 60% on that. Hindsight, I should have taken it on more, on a bunch of those. But I ended up doing well with them anyways. But But yeah, I don't pay some certain flat percent universally on everything. Like roughly, depending on what it is, I will pay 70 to 95%. Um, there are certain things though, like I said, if you got a case of Battle Arena decks, if you got a case of just, I'm not paying 70% on everything. It absolutely, I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone can, because you can always find the exceptions that like that is too much quantity of a super niche item. That is too much work to break down all that product or whatever it may be. So yeah. Um. Yeah. Again, semantics. You even say it yourself. In the end, it's all stupid semantics. There are, again, we don't need to dive too much into the finances and the tax strategies. And there are strategies in shifting your inventory. There are strategies in tax loss harvesting. This is in Pokemon. This is not in Pokemon. Some of it depends on if you're cash basis, accrual basis, but there is strategy in buying a lot of stuff that you intend to sell short to medium term to move some numbers around elsewhere to just make things work better for you in tax years, in given years. And yeah, it's, I know it sounds too vague, but like, I guess it's one of those things, if you know, you know. I mean, if you have a CPA and you know a little bit of personal finance, tax optimization is one of the biggest overlooked things in this space. I talk about it as much as I can. I need to hear about this free slash cheap storage method Dan is getting. I'm running out of room. I have so many friends in the hobby who live in like Chicago, New York City, LA, in like one bedroom apartments, studio apartments. I live out in the woods. I live out in the woods. I have a decent sized house. I have a decent sized garage, 2-stall attached garage. I have a 2-stall detached garage. That's like on site. And I have off site stuff too. I mean, I have friends, I have family members with big houses, detached, attached. Like, I have and I know a lot of business owners. I know some local, like, I don't know how common this is in cities and stuff. But around me, there's a lot of people with like big barns, big warehouses, big industrial commercial type buildings. All winter long, they like store boats. It's like you pay them $200, $300. They store your boat. They store your antique car for the winter. And then in the summer, they store snowmobiles and they store snow blowers and they store tractor, like snow plows, whatever it may be. Some combination of all of those things is what I have access to. I made it on the live streams. Nice to see you, Asian buffet reseller. Temporal forces to the moon. I have no idea. I try to stay away from spoilers, so I don't know anything about it really. Question: with your diet, do you get meat sweats? I need to be better, and I am actually 2 weeks in, little bit over 2 weeks in. I'm already noticeably losing a little bit of weight. I think I fluctuate 5 or 10 pounds, like depending on how hydrated, how dehydrated. If you're 250, there's gonna be a plus or minus 2%. I mean, plus or minus 2% on 250 is literally exactly 10 pounds. So there's probably a 10-pound range that I could be in if I intentionally dehydrated, overhydrated, overate, whatever. But my last weigh-in was 246, which was 7 pounds. That, like, I don't think I've actually lost 7 pounds. I think my initial weigh-in, I was a little more on the heavy end of my range. And then my recent weigh-in, I was a little more on the light end of my plus or minus 2% range. But I'm just eating less quantity. The biggest place I always get the meat sweats, Brazilian Steakhouse. We've done them a few times with the Collecticons. We probably will do more in the future. I always try to get my best bang for the buck. You're spending a lot of money when you go to a nice place like that, nice buffet of any kind. Anything all you can eat, I try to get like the best unit cost, unit value on what I get out of it. I need to be better. I eat to the point of like pain, and then I try to eat a couple more. Like, oh, I mean, you're talking a little bit of picanha. You got yeah. I'll take the picanha. I'll take the garlic steak. I'll take whatever it may be. I need to start shunning at least the last couple and I've been better. My main thing that I'm gonna do this year, it's not about cutting soda. It's not about cutting chicken wings, beer, limiting everything universally. It's like I usually eat. I just love food, and I eat good food a lot, and I eat a lot of good food, a lot. I need to eat a little more veggies. I need to up the veggies, up the fruits, lower the meats a little bit, and lower everything universally. Like my overall just raw amount of food I take in, and I've been doing it. I've at some holiday gatherings already. Like I'm full. I don't need like that looks delicious, and I've already had 10 of them, and I want an 11th. I don't need it. Random number I threw out there, but whether it's a deviled egg, whether it's another cut of brisket, whether it's another little pulled pork sandwich, I uh I just moderation. Moderation is the biggest thing. At some point too, I really need to up the exercise side of it, but I've not really done anything on that front either yet. What is the best way to go about buying collections to flip if you are first starting out? There's no best way. This is one of those like looking for a rule of thumb esque questions. You're not really looking for a rule of thumb exactly, but you're looking for like a universal truth. There is no universal best. You can buy raw. You could do like depending on where you live, your Craigslist, your Let Go, your Facebook Marketplace. They might be like a gold mine. You might have a ton of stuff to just start buying raw collections, grade a little bit as you see fit. Maybe you find a streamer that you send all the non-gradable stuff to, and they just have a good clean outlet at a certain percentage. Maybe you buy strictly on eBay. I mean, there was a long stretch of time where I did it with video games. I would buy collections on eBay. I would turn around and I would sell them on eBay. I know Tekken Sports, Daily Refinement. They've talked about multiple people they have in their groups that do 6 and 7 figure annual businesses, and they fully source on eBay, literally just turn it around, optimize it, and sell it back on eBay and make 6 figures, selling 7 figures annually. Like you can go graded, raw, sealed, like any which way you want. You can do any of them. It just depends on your experiences, your your experience, your expertise, your tools you have available to you. Like, are you more limited in cash flow or time? Do you have, yeah, a lot of it just depending on your situation. There's no universal best. Best for me is not best for you. Then are you better at bowling or table tennis? I'm pretty bad at both. I think the best game I ever bowled, just I had no right to bowl this game because I'm really bad. It was like a 216. We used to have, back when I went to college, there was a certain night of the week, like maybe Wednesday nights. They had really cheap beers, really cheap pizza and stuff like that, just to lure the college kids down. And out of nowhere, I was like that perfect amount of buzzed. Not too drunk, but like not too sober either. And everything just clicked. And I was just throwing strikes left and right. 216, I believe it was. Out of nowhere. My average, if I go, I take the kids occasionally, wife and kids, and I go. If I bowl 3 games right now, I would probably bowl. I would struggle to get 100 one of the games. Like I would be fighting for my life to get a 105 one of the games. Another game I'd bowl like a 140 randomly out of nowhere, and then I'd be like a 120. So I guess my average would probably be like a 120 or 130. I'm really bad, really bad. I used to bowl in a league on Saturdays when I was younger. Never learned to throw a curveball. I just throw a heavy ball really fast, and see what happens. But yeah, I never was good. I was probably better back when I was like 12 because I was in a bowling league and I bowled every Saturday for like 10 weeks, 12 weeks of the year, however long it was. I don't remember. I look like a badminton or pickleball type. I've never played pickleball. I really want to try it at some point. I played racket sports in college. I played basketball, golf. I played everything in high school. Pretty much the only sports we had at my school that I didn't play on the team were tennis, cross country. I think tennis and cross country would be the only ones. I played every other sport we had. We weren't a big school. We didn't have like hockey. We didn't. I wish we had hockey. I would have loved it. But yeah, I played football, soccer, baseball, basketball. I did a little bit of track. I did wrestling for 1 year. Terrible at that. College though, late high school, I started playing squash. I really liked squash. I'm not good at it either, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And that's a very good game. Like if I could get back into playing squash a little bit here and there, I would drop a lot of weight because I played racquetball. Unfortunately, we didn't have a squash team, but some of the racquetball team guys and gals played a little bit of squash too. So I got into racquetball through squash. And yeah, I played racquetball all college, and I got a lot better than when I started, but I was not really good. um, I'm selling my PC at 125% of market. Hit me up. Dan built like Fred Flintstone. I bet he can bowl like an MF. Unfortunately, as I just said, I cannot. I'm 26 minutes behind. I will try to catch up. Billiards, my dad is really good at pool. I never got good at pool. Um, Rugby vibes. Never played rugby. Dodgeball, I'm too big of a target. That's the issue with dodgeball. Too big of a target. Give us a yabba dabba do. I can't do it. I can't do it. You gotta catch me on a drinking stream and I'll give you a yabba dabba do. I'm too sober for that. Darts, I'm pretty like I have my best friend is in a darts league. Goes around some of the bars. Like each bar has a team and they like visit the other bar. It's actually a pretty cool idea. Don't have the time really to get into one, but it would be fun. But I play with him occasionally. Like he plays quite a bit. Growing up, he always had a dartboard at his house. We'd play all the time. And my I will say though, before someone else says it, I need to admit that Bandy and Basic beat myself and Ivy and in Charlotte. We did play. I think I was at the point where I was like too many IPAs deep. I talked about my bowling earlier, where I was like the right amount of buzz. I was a little bit past that playing darts, I think. But I'm pretty decent. My length, like in darts, you have to stand. You can't go in front of the line, but you can lean. I don't know what the distance is in darts. Is it 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet? I mean, my arm's length, I'm probably a foot closer to the board than most people. So I think if I practice darts, I could get pretty good at it. But I've not played extensively. But when I play with that buddy of mine who plays darts quite a bit, I can hold my own against him. Do you have a young retirement goal, or do you plan to do some amount of work during retirement? I follow a couple like podcasts. I guess just to name one that I really enjoy. Two Sides of Fi. Fi being financial independence. I think one thing in the they call them the retirement police. So the entire concept of that podcast is that they are on two sides of financial independence. One guy recently retired, the other guy nearing retirement. Both retiring young. Not like substantially young, not like 25, 30, 40. I think one is mid 50s, retiring maybe 10, 15 years before traditional retirement age, and the other one is kind of late 40s, 50ish, going to retire about the same ballpark. But they talk about all the different things, and yeah, one, the retirement police. Like one of them, he retired from his main job, and he has like something that he does kind of for fun on the side, like one day a week. Like say he had an eBay and he was selling Pokemon cards. The retirement police will say, "Oh no, you're making money selling Pokemon cards on eBay. You're not retired. That doesn't count." Like one, who cares? I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I'm not there. I'm not this. But I'm not saying this about me. I'm a full-time Pokemon seller on eBay. At some point, I might retire from this and just casually sell Pokemon still. But yeah, I never envisioned myself doing nothing. That guy never envisions himself doing nothing. I forget what he does exactly. He used to work at like I think he works at a brewery or something. He used to work something with like a brewery or a winery, and he just does it like one day a week to just stay active and stay doing something. It's like a passionate, like I know I have a lot of friends who I have some friends, I guess, not a ton of them, but I have some friends who like some tied through the Schultz and Dooley Beerstein stuff, Utica Club. um they brew their own beers. Big like home brewing is like a community of people. It's like a hobby. Some people take that and then they open their own brewery. Like who's to say I won't end up opening a food truck? Who's to say I won't still be doing eBay sales down the line? Like I never envisioned myself on the golf course 7 days a week. I never envisioned myself on the beach 7 days a week. Like I never envisioned myself doing nothing. I mean my dad and my grandpa, I think, are the same way. They just need to be doing something. They enjoy doing something. They enjoy staying active, keeping their minds sharp. Like just and by no like necessity are they seeking money, but money comes to them just pursuing their hobbies, pursuing their interests. Like that's just the way certain people end up going through life, I guess. I don't know. Like I've just always enjoyed eBay. I can never envision myself being fully off eBay. So I have a young FI goal, financial independence. Fully retiring, like I'm partway there. Me quitting my job was like, I would not call it retirement. I would not call it semi-retirement, but it was a big step in my path towards FI. It was enabled by what Pokemon did. It was enabled by early saving my salary there, my wife saving her salary there, and uh, a lot of that fuel ignited by the Pokemon boom. But yeah, that is one step towards my ultimate FI goal. Once I get FI, once I have 25 times, 30 times annual expenses in accounts, then it's like just have fun from like I'm having fun now. Have more fun. Maybe cut out some of the things that I don't enjoy and shift more into things that I only enjoy the most. Like optimize money is not the sole thing I'm optimizing for. It's there. It's in the formula. But happiness, overall happiness, of which money is a big component. Like that whole thing, money doesn't buy happiness. But was it Daniel Tosh? I think Tosh show. That's another bit of content I've been watching lately. He's really funny. I think it was Daniel Tosh that said, "Money doesn't buy you happiness." Have you ever seen someone on a wave runner? Some people call them jet ski. I always call them jet skis growing up. I think he calls them wave runners. Have you ever seen someone frowning, not smiling on a wave runner? It's like you go on a wave runner, you can't not smile. So money can absolutely buy happiness because you can buy a wave runner with it. Um, but yeah, long rant and ramble off that question. That means it was a good question. I do not have any beard oils. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. The beard just grows. The beard, it's less me growing a beard. I've said this exact thing before. It's less me growing a beard, and it's more me stopping shaving. I used to have to shave at work. They said clean shaven daily. I didn't do that. I shaved a couple times a week. I do wear a respirator though. If it was a day I knew I was gonna have to wear my respirator all day, I would shave those days. But I passed my fit tests on like for 3-4 days of stubble. So I pushed the limits as much as I could. Hey Dan, tax advice: pay them. Pay the least amount you legally can though. Optimize. Optimize. Um, Dan plays the one sport where one person slides some weird thing and the other two people sweep the floor in front of it. Dan, what is that? That's I watch that a little bit. I love the Olympics. I watch a little bit of everything. Curling, right? Yeah, yeah, curling. Um, that'd be cool to try. I would be terrible at it, I'm sure. There's a in a bar near me. I've played it a little bit. There's a board version of that. It's a big wood table, a little bit of like fine sand on it, just to allow the things to slide better. It's like curling, but on a table. No ice, no brooms. You just yeah. I think there's multiple variants. There's one where you slide with the stick too. Uh, I guess that's the same. That's a similar thing. There's a few things along those lines, but obviously one's on ice. Um, with the sweepers. If I avoid paying taxes, is that tax avoidance and not tax evasion? Tax avoidance is good business. Tax evasion is criminal. Don't do the latter. Curling, yeah, grammar collects curling. I might have to work until I die. I don't like golf. Dan's nightmare is his wife taking time off work. Man's terrified. No, I my um while our kids are in school, I think more likely we will stay busier. We will like I don't know exactly where I'll be in 10 years. 10 years, my kids will both still be in school. So at least for the next 10 years, I envision her to continue teaching. If teaching ever gets so miserable for her and like she's just having terrible quality, like if she hates her job ever, hates it, like absolutely, there's those days. I used to have those days. I have a lot less of those days now, being my own boss, because most of those days came from other people at my job, not from my job itself. So I very rarely have like those. You know what I'm talking about? Those days. She definitely has those days. But if she ever is like, I need to get out of there. This is my last year. We would figure something out. We would. I mean, there are. We live in New York. There's the exchanges. That there are ways you can buy it yourself. Nick and I actually talked about it on the last one. We talked a little bit with I think that was when Pokey was on that we talked. So not the last one, but a recent one. We talked. But yeah. There are options, and 15 years. Now you're getting to the point where both of our kids are going to be out of school. and on doing their own things, that's when I really like, and maybe some amount before that too. It's hard to say. Like we've not yet hit FI, so some people call it FU money. We don't have FU money. She can't go in FU. Like we don't have all of our eggs in a row. We don't have everything lined up to just have FU money and be like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want, and I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. Never have to sell anymore. We still have to work for a while at least. We'll see how long it takes to get there. Um, Retiring abroad is a play. Yeah, some people do that. What do they call it? The FI community has so many different acronyms. So many. They have like barista fire. They have lean fire, fat fire. There's one. There's one that ties in like geographical arbitrage. I forget what it's called. Um, at what point is it better to set my collection on fire versus selling? Almost never. Almost never, I would say. What's the meaning of life? That's a tough one. I've not yet figured that one out. Pursue happiness, but not in a completely not in a way that infringes upon others. Not there's a fancy word for that's escaping me. Not in a purely. I feel like I'm gonna say the wrong word. Not in like a hedonistic way. I started to think about it saying it, but then I'm like I'm not sure that this is exactly right. But yeah, not in a pure like yeah, the ethical theory that pleasure is the highest good and proper aim of human life. I wouldn't go a pure hedonism route. I would definitely say that the pursuit of happiness and all that is good, but as long as you're not infringing on others, but like big thing for me, having kids, giving them better than I had, and then hopefully living long enough to see my kids have kids that they give more than I gave them. Like that to me is a massive life goal. I was just actually at my grandparents earlier. So my grandparents are lucky enough to have had their own children, who had their own children. That's me, who had their own like they've met. I think my grandparents are up to 10 great grandchildren, and they had kids a fair bit younger. My parents had kids a fair bit younger. My wife and I did not have kids that young, so we probably won't have the fortune of seeing our great grandchildren. But yeah, like seeing my grandchildren one day, that is a huge. I mean, the meaning of life, like to continue life. That's a big part of it for me at least. Um, oh, I just completely jumped to the bottom, but I do have my place somewhere. Let me continue. There we go. Back to where I was. I think cash rules everything around Dan. I've never encountered a Bigfoot. It is a thing though. Like some people have like silhouette signs of Bigfoot just on their lawn, like randomly. Probably within like a 20-minute drive of me. I can think of like three or four different places that just have a Bigfoot silhouette somewhere on their lawn as like a lawn decoration, or they have it like in their woods somewhere on their property and you can see it from the road when you drive by. How's it going, Cheeks Galore? Um, any Super Bowl predictions? So I'm in a little I did a little paywall pool. Everyone who's in the paywall could enter it at their will. There's no like money up there, but I'm throwing up a booster box just so that people hear about it a little bit and put their picks in. And I'm the only one in our pool of maybe what do we have, 15 or 20 people in there maybe. I'm the only one who picked the Chiefs. I think I picked the Chiefs winning over the Niners. So if the Chiefs even make the Super Bowl, as long as San Fran doesn't win and the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I'm in pretty good spot to win that. I win nothing if I win because I was the one putting up the booster box, so I win not having to give away a booster box. What will the next price be set at for the Dan promos? There are still a small amount of Dan promos up. I think it's single digits. I think it's sub 10. The next price that they are offered at will be higher than 20. Once the price goes up, whatever I sell them at, that's my new buy price too. I don't know whether it's going to be 25, 30, 40, 50. I don't think it's going to be any crazy. 25 could happen, 30 could happen. If I go to 50 though, if I went to 49.99, one, nobody might buy them. Two, 100 people might sell them, and then I lose 3 grand. So I really don't want to lose 3 grand. But yeah, whatever I sell them at, I will be buying them for 1 penny more, counting all first 100. So the next price will be higher, and the floor will go up. But I don't know when, and I don't know how much. But once those 100 sell, those are the only 100 being sold at 19.99 for sure. Do you think this optimized market has reached its peak, or is there more to go? Peak on what? Some's going to go up, some's going to go down. The answer lies within the area of gray, as always. There are plays you can make grading still, less than you could before. There are plays you can make in seal. There are things you can do in all aspects of the market. There is billions of dollars out there to be made and lost every day. Some of it's zero sum. Some of it, if you're making money, it's coming at the cost of someone else. Some of it's not, though. Like, a lot of this feels and looks zero sum. James made a great video earlier talking about the pie, right? Like, it's not all competition. Go check out James' video. Maybe one of my wrenches in here can link it. We got ZNG Emporium back making videos, so we should encourage him to keep going while he's going. But yeah, I won't spoil the whole video, but he talked mostly about I think the title. I think he went with 2 titles. I think he changed it very early on. But what was it? It was something about like competition isn't your enemy or something like that. Competition is good. Competition is good. So yeah, I think it's not all zero sum. You can actually like grow the pie together, is what I was getting at. Referencing back to his video. Only fire Dan can start is with a lighter. I'm not buying you a beer, I'm buying you a celery stick. We gotta keep you healthy. Oh man. Can you do more fear-mongering videos from your closet? Disguise this truth. 10 to 20% off. What is this, Mattress Mart? Do you have a favorite dead card game? Again, I would not say that it's dead. Some people would say Metazoo's dead. So to those people, I would say, well, that's my favorite dead card game. I don't think that's dead. Some people would say I invest in Pokemon. I don't say I do. But favorite dead card game that is actually dead, I think. Not really. I did a little bit of DBZ Score. I did a little bit of Naruto. I did some of those dead TCGs, CCGs. I just didn't really have any connection to them. Yeah, the only connection I had to anything growing up was like I had some cousins who played Magic, so I saw the cards some, and then never got into Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh's still alive anyways, obviously. Pokemon's alive. There's no like card game I was ever into that died. So yeah, I knew Metazoo was coming, so I had to say it before someone else did. um I said it in my video. I am like personal finance and personal fitness, personal health, very, very in line. I am very good at optimizing the finance side, very, very poor. And the big thing is like finances can be fixed and worked on. Finances you can go earn more money. You can't get back time. You can't get health back. You can't get your like all these years that I've been overweight. Like I need to work on that because Warren Buffett would trade places with any of us today. Like no matter if you are under 30 years old, no matter your financial situation, barring any like crazy health situation, Warren Buffett would trade spots with you. Charlie Munger. Before I say it, let me verify. Yeah, Charlie Munger was an American businessman. I'm pretty sure he passed late last year. Charlie Munger. I'm just bad with names, and I didn't want to like attribute it to the wrong person and say someone had passed who hadn't. But yeah, Charlie Munger recently passed. A big business partner of Warren Buffett's, and they've always said they would trade spots with anybody who has time, who has health, who has like that is the most valuable thing any of us has, and it's something that's ticking away every minute, every hour. So I really need to do better to ensure that I can extend that as much as possible. You don't have full control over it, but you absolutely have a bit of control over it. You can lean the odds in your favor. Guys, buy all my Troll and Toad junk. It's 50 cents off. Yeah, 20 bucks a box on some of them at a zoo. Dan, I love teaching people responsible personal finance practices. Also, Dan, yeah, if MetaZoo actually drops war, I'm backing up the truck. The thing is, like, again, it's all proportional. This is not flex. This is not. When I maxed out native, it was like 50K. If you told me 5 years ago I'd be buying 50K, a pallet worth of product for a TCG that did not yet exist, I would think you're crazy. If you told me I was doing this full time, I would think you're crazy. Like, relative to everything I'm doing, though, it's kind of a lot, but it's also kind of not like a crazy amount. And all that money from native came back. Like, I got, and maybe for war it won't. Like, maybe for war it'll blow up and it won't. Like, blow up in a bad way. Maybe it'll blow up in a good way. Obviously, yeah, I've talked about all the MetaZoo and all the MetaZoo videos. But anyways, I probably won't go 50K. I probably won't go a full pallet. I might go 25K. I might do a half order. But the print run will probably be drastically lower. So proportionally, I would probably be a higher percentage. Depending what happens between now and then, if war ever even comes out, I might not buy any. But as of today, if it were to come out tomorrow and they ask me for orders, I would place a big one. Not 50K though. It would be pretty big, but not 50K. What's your tier list for Sword and Shield booster boxes in the context of priority to buy? It's not that deep. I'm not like, and this is not on Pixel Katana, but one thing that I've said in videos, I made a video a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I don't even remember. Noise in the Hobby. I think it was a year ago, probably. A lot of people, analysis paralysis is another video that I made that references this. This is not you. You might be buying it by the pallet. You might just be. It's always fun to talk and theorize and do like a thought experiment on all this. So if you're doing this out of fun, if you're doing whatever, but like what I'm getting to is put thought and effort into it proportional to what you're actually doing. Like, some people will spend so much time like stressing, like not just out of enjoyment, not just out of like I'm doing this as a hobby, as fun. They'll like stress it for hours optimizing which Sword and Shield. I'm gonna buy one box. Like, I'm gonna put 150, 200, even if it's 5,000, like however much money you're putting into these, make sure the effort and the thought that goes into it is proportional to like what you're actually doing. Me putting 50K into MetaZoo, it's not that huge of a thing. Like it sounds crazy and it sounds nuts, and it's 2% of what I sold. It's less than 2% of what I sold last year. I guess all in one product, all at one time. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's no more or no less than it is. But I think a lot of people shy towards the size of like thinking it's way more than it is. So yeah, if you're doing it for fun, if you're just running through a thought experiment, if you like the optimizing, but a lot of people, and again, this is not you, this is not anyone in particular, but they will just spend so much time. Their sole motive or their main motive is profit. And they spend all this time optimizing a $500 purchase that best case scenario might make them $1,000 or $2,000. Like, put some money into a 401k. And I know Scott said something about this in one of his videos quite a while back, I think. Work a second job. If your sole motive is to make money and you're spending 2 hours to analyze a $100, $200 purchase, you'd be better off just working a little bit more at your job. Like, some people shunning overtime, time and a half, like to just sit around, like, and again, this is not anyone in particular, but it's a thing that happens. I used to work with people. Again, let me scapegoat the people, my anecdotes. I used to work with people that, and I was not their boss, but I ran the process as the engineer that they worked the process. So I coordinated with their boss, and I know that some of them were being overlooked due to their head was always like in their phone. Their head was always like, what crypto should I put? Should I put $50 into Ether, or should I put $50 into Bitcoin, or should I put $50 into whatever all these cryptos were a couple years ago? And they're trying to optimize like the dollars and the cents. And then they're like, it's like you could be getting promotions at your job if you just put a little more effort and thought into that. You could come in on Saturday instead of doing all these crazy things you're doing. You could just come in on Saturday and work for time and a half and make guaranteed money and put some of these, again, shunning 401k matches and blah, blah, blah. Where I used to work was one of the most drastic ones. The average person would not be shunning all this. 25% of my company did not take the 401k match. If you put in 1% where I used to work, you would get 1% match, 100, like doubling your money. You put in 1%, they put in 1%, doubled your money. Profit sharing used to vary between 2 to 5% maybe. So you could turn 1% into 7%. You could 5, 6, 7 extra money, and people were shunning that. So that just goes back into the whole analysis paralysis. Put time into it. Like, some people are thinking more about MetaZoo than I am. Someone who's going to spend 50K on MetaZoo in the next few months, there are people out there thinking more about MetaZoo, planning more about MetaZoo than I am. And it's crazy. It's like, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, let me continue back on. I am 45 minutes behind chat, maybe. I need to catch up. Man, glitch stopped and went off again. Probably one of those times where I was like thinking what I was gonna say next before I went on my rant further. Question, sell me plushes. I need them. I'm investing in these bad boys. Not for sale. I've never seen such robotic mannerisms before. I don't know what I was doing, but I definitely must have been pausing. And Dan, how much are you paying for you Nagaba packs now? My one of my guys in Japan reached out to me recently with, was it $17 a piece? I have not paid attention to how much those are going for. I want to send more raw to BGS. I really need to, because the black label play is still a thing. If you can pre-grade. So I would need to look, but yeah, if you have a bunch you want to sell, actually, like, feel free to hit me up. If the price was right, I'd probably buy a bunch. I kind of had forgotten about that altogether. Like, my most recent BGS one, I think my final BGS one just came back a couple of months ago. I bet Dan won't buy them, but OSP will. I would definitely buy them. I would need to look into it, though. Forced Gang Unite. Got nothing but space. I wish I was a sealed investor. Question, not financial advice. What do you do personally with upgradable inventory as far as taxes go? What's the difference between cash basis and accrual? Cash basis. Oversimplification. Consult with somebody. Blah, blah, blah. Cash basis. Say you start a year, and I think I did this 2 weeks ago in my live chat. Maybe this was in Discord, though. Maybe this is more of a Discord thing. I don't know. But if you start a year with 50K in your business bank account, and you end the year with 50K in your business bank account, irrespective of what your inventory is, you have essentially netted zero per cash basis accounting. You can spend late in the year a bunch of money all at once to lower your tax burden for the coming, like, filing. Accrual basis, you cannot, because you do not instantly write off the inventory. You do not expense the inventory in the year that you purchase it. You expense it in the year that you sell it. Very oversimplified, but yeah, two businesses identical, both starting with 50K in their account at the beginning of the year, both ending with 50K in their account at the end of the year, both increasing their inventory by, say, 200K throughout the year. So they profited nothing on paper. They invested it all back in the business, all back in inventory. The one who's doing accrual, if their inventory grew by 200K, they can not yet write that off. So they have 150K gain that they have to pay taxes on. The cash basis, they have no gain because they spent it all. They invested it all back in inventory in the business. Very much oversimplification, but that's roughly how it goes. How come no one talks about Mongolian grills no more? Is that one of the ones where you like Mongolian grills? Like you dig a pit? There are some people around me that actually like, oh, is that's like a restaurant. I was thinking of some like I do a lot of my pit boss, but around me there are some people that will do like a pig roast. You actually like dig a big hole, you start a fire down in it. Some of them you have like a big can't think of the word. a big man, the thing that spins while you cook, like a spit, like spit roasting a pig basically. Some of them you actually like encase everything in foil. You like bury it in dirt, like you lay a tarp and then I don't know exactly how it works, but you like almost bury something for like 12, 24 hours and then you like dig it back up. um Hey Dan, I know you mentioned being near upstate. What's a good local beer? I've been trying to find something better than all the name brands. I am not a beer connoisseur whatsoever. I'm a big fan of the West End Brewing Company, FX Matt Brewing Company. They are the Saranac brands. So Saranac is not like a microbrewery whatsoever. But I like Legacy IPA. I like Cloud Splitter. I like a lot of the Saranac IPAs. I just recently went to a couple. Well, I've been to a couple different really small breweries that you probably wouldn't be able to find that stuff anywhere. But yeah, Sloop Juice Bombs are kind of my go-to. That's not really local to me. I think it's in New York, but I forget where exactly. But yeah, I just go for IPAs. Some of them I don't like. Most of them I do like though. Uh, can I get a deck build recommendation for Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, or are we just gonna talk meat sweats all night? I've heard of Kingdom Hearts. It was like a video game years back. I have no idea what Chain of Memories is. It's sometimes about cards, sometimes about meats, mostly meat. Uh, look at that beard, always meats. Oh man, Dan's the closest thing we have to a drooling Homer Simpson over meat. Yeah, that's crazy. So there's a guy in the calls who does 4 million, all fulfillment by Amazon, sourced on eBay. Is this the part of the live where we talk about how we used to be good? I never got into lifting. Probably not a surprise looking at me, but I never got into lifting. This might just be cope. This just might be an excuse I'm making. I think really long arms is not great for benching. I think generally a lot of the best power lifters and all that. Not to say someone with long arms can't lift, but I never focused on it. I never. So I don't even know. I never really tried. Um, Clicks on Pokemon live chat. Unfortunately, we didn't have a squash team. Oh man, how's it going, Gary? Nice to see you in here. Way behind on chat. I don't know if Gary's still here, but 30 minutes ago he was. um, I wouldn't hit the like. Stream can improve. Well, it seems like people didn't because there's only 8 likes. Um, uh, Dan cheats at darts and steps over the line. Yeah, I'm way behind. I gotta catch up. Um. So that's one thing. How do I find your shop on Troll and Toad? You can't. There's no way to search by Catch 'em All collectibles. It is unfortunate, but it's not surprising. Troll and Toad wants you to just buy stuff. They don't want you to support Dan on Troll and Toad. They want you to support Troll and Toad, and maybe some of the stuff's Dan's, and maybe some of the stuff's Rusty's. Starting next month, they want you to support them, and there's gonna have no Evo sellers. So yeah, that's all gonna be gone. Um, appreciate you for being here, Pokey Barn. Oh god. Uh, this is where I was talking about retiring shuffleboard. That's right, shuffleboard. Oh man, this is the issue when you lag 30 minutes behind chat. I think I did well in the last Pokey Flips, taking questions from like further ahead and kind of bouncing back and forth. I'm not doing well with that this time. Sorry. Um, appreciate you stopping in, Wonder. Nice to see you. Uh, oh no, I scrolled to the bottom again. I'm almost caught up though. It's like 30 minutes, but I think a lot of people are just leaving because their questions aren't being answered. um, there's the quote. I am the worst. Like I know some people who are like masters. You watch back in college, I had some friends. You go to the same movie with them. You watch a movie with them for the first time. Like one of my favorite comedies, and I actually got to watch it before it came out in theaters. At the college I went to, we just for some reason we had an advanced screening of it, just to see reception, whatever. Forgetting Sarah Marshall was a hilarious movie, and I remember going to that freshman year with some of my I believe it was freshman. Yeah, it had to be freshman year, I think. I went to that with some of my friends. I watched the same movie. I loved the movie. They loved the movie. For like the rest of college, they would just quote movies that I was with them at. Only watched it once, and they would quote like 20 quotes from the movie just forever. And then every subsequent movie they watched, they just add that many more quotes. I cannot quote stuff like that well. But Garden of Living Arts hit us with money doesn't buy happiness. Do you live in America? Because it buys a wave runner. Have you ever seen a sad person on a wave runner? That was Tosh. So I know just enough to completely butcher the quote. Like I will give you the punchline, but I will butcher the delivery. It will not be funny. It will not be good. But yeah. I'm not a hedonist. I just like craft beer. Oh man. It looks like he bites ice cream. I'm not much of a sweet tooth. Oh, that's funny. Juarez. I made it through half of Basics 24-hour stream. I watched the first 12-hour. Actually timestamped when every guest came in. I'm gonna watch the second 12 hours soon, but maybe next week. I don't know if I'll get to it this week. Time is overrated. Time and its imminent end gives life beauty and meaning. There we go. Um, Utah Jazz, Stockton and Malone. Yeah, back in the '90s. I used to watch a decent bit of NBA back in the '90s. Um, I thought I was to the bottom. I'm not quite there. I'm almost to the bottom though. I do 15 hours of overtime already, but sometimes I feel like having a pokey side business would be fun. Yeah, like if you are, everyone needs leisure time. If you are using this as your leisure time, you're just having these thought experiments. You're running through. But I used to work with people who would like during their shift all the time, getting in trouble for being on their phone, worrying, and it's like, oh man, I missed the top. I sold I'm trying to remember some of the cryptos, some of the specific cryptos. They sold it too early. They didn't buy it as much as they thought. And it's like, how much of this do you have? Oh, I bought $50 last week and it's worth like 150 now. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what you've been talking about this for 2 weeks straight at work. I've heard about it for 10 hours. I've invested 10 hours of my life into it, and you made $100 off it. Like, what are we doing here? Come on. Uh, See, that's the thing. If you were someone who put in just like I don't have the stats, I don't have the numbers. If you were someone who put in the minimum, if you put in 1% to just open your account, it was great. It was one of the best. Like I have not heard of many more that you could put in 1%, get a 1% match, and then 3 to 5% profit sharing. There was a year that I was there that if you put it like say you made 50K. Say you made well yeah 50K would be easier. Say you made 50K, you would put in $500 in a given year. I forget what year it was, but in a good year that we had, economy was good, business was good, everything. You put in 500, they put in 500. You got 1,000. Match was $2,500. So your $500 turned into $3,500, tax sheltered. Like how could? And there were people that didn't do that. There were people that year that didn't put in $500. Maybe they made 25K, maybe it was $250 turning into 1750. There were people that didn't do that. And some of them talked about crypto, buying $20 worth of crypto on Robinhood, buying some of the same ones during the pandemic. talking about Pokemon cards, talking about sports cards, talking about it's like what are we doing here, people? Uh Taco Bell pays employees same day now. You can withdraw early. That's crazy. I remember where my dad used to work. He was offered universally. Everyone was offered a 2% raise if they could go from weekly paychecks. I need to actually make note of this because I want to make on my finance channel 10 years from now. I'm gonna make a video about this specifically. This anecdote. Um, Weekly versus biweekly versus semi-monthly pay. There were grown adults where my dad used to work. They declined a 2% raise for everyone to go from weekly pay. I forget if it was semi-weekly or bi-weekly, fortnightly, or semi-monthly. It was either going to be every 2 weeks or or twice a month. I forget which one, but like you were going to make more money. You were just going to have to be an adult. And instead of budging it from Friday to Friday, because I think where he used to work, they got paid on Fridays. Instead of having more money, people voted to keep making less and getting paid every week because they knew they were that bad with money. Like that is a sad state of affairs for grown adults. And some people made the argument, oh, like they're gonna give us 2% now, but they're gonna lower our raises in the future. Maybe a valid argument, like maybe it was, but overall, like still, sad state of affairs. That I guess the one silver lining that you can give people, if you are aware enough, self-aware enough that you know you're that bad with money, that's one silver lining. Like if you can at least admit it, because some people can't admit their faults. Like first step is acceptance or awareness or whatever. That's all that's all the silver lining I can put on it. But needing to be paid daily, it's like man, come on, man, woman, whoever you are, learn to budget your money. People are crazy. The lack of personal finance discipline is sad. That's a luau. um, yeah, that's the thing. Like paying so much money to get your own money. It's payday loans are a thing. Loan sharks are a thing. It's all people's inability to delay gratification and just take ownership of their finances and be able to budget across a week. Like people can't budget across a week or 2 weeks. It's crazy. I saw someone with a very similar to you name to yours on eBay today. I don't know if you're talking to me or someone in chat, but I am on eBay. Dibs on writing Dan's tombstone. He hath arms with length that prevented thyself from bench pressing. So I'm fully caught up now, I think. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Was that before or after you saw Taylor Swift before she was Taylor Swift? So let me see the year that Forgetting Sarah Marshall came out. I really like that movie. That was April 2008. That was the end of my freshman year of college. So I was right there. I remember we watched it. That was the same year. I'm gonna fact check myself in a minute. That was the same year because we watched it in our biggest lecture hall on campus. There was like 300 people in there, three or 400 people. Some campuses they're gonna be like 300 people. That was your biggest lecture hall on campus. Probably a lot of places have way bigger lecture halls, but that was our biggest. Uh, I think yeah, definitely. That was the year that the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I don't think that was the year they spoiled their perfect season. Maybe it was. But definitely the Giants beat the Patriots because I watched the Super Bowl in that same that same room. They just what year was the that? Yeah, 2007 New Year's Patriots, 17-1. Or 16-1. That was that year. So that same year I watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall like early access before it was released. And then I watched the Super Bowl that year. It was one of the it was just like the college put it on. They're like, hey, we're gonna. They provided like I forget what the deal was with that. I don't think it was paid. I think it was free, pizza and wings and all this stuff. Go watch like one thing I love about going to the games is the atmosphere. Like going to the games, just going nuts, and no alcohol was involved there. I mean, some people were probably drinking, but I didn't sneak anything in. But felt like I was at the game because I went to college in Albany area, and there's a lot of people from Boston. There's a lot of people from New England in that area, and obviously in New York, a lot of Giants fans. The it was like 300 people in there. Place was packed. 150 Patriots fans, 150 Giants fans. Like it was as split down the middle. Look at the stadium. Look at the not the stadium. Look at the lecture hall. It was like divided down the middle. Place was going nuts. It was such an awesome atmosphere to watch the game, and I'm sure like it wasn't like being there. It would have been a lot better to be there, but it was close. Like it was crazy. And it went the right way. Like I'm not a Giants fan, but I'm very much against the Patriots, being a Jets fan. So my favorite Super Bowl experience ever. Yeah, that was awesome. He's reminiscing to the camera and saying we asked. Oh man, that's funny. So if anyone has any further questions, I've been going for an hour and a half. We're all over the place, off the rails as always. I've fully caught up with chat. So if no new questions roll in, I could wrap up at any time. Some people are probably begging that I wrap up sometime soon. But yeah, I could go a little bit longer too. We'll see what happens. Did you feel capped at your engineering position or limited and found unlimited potential selling and buying cards? I so in 2020, the last year that I worked full time, because I quit July of 2021. I made more money part time on eBay in 2020 than I did full time as a chemical engineer. And I had my second child. So it came down to like I have to pick one. A lot of it is going back to my video to start the year, talking about all my sales, and people ask like how much did you make? Some amount of that in 2020 was capital gains. I did not make all of that. If I took aside what I made versus what was capital gains versus blah blah blah, and a lot of that's hard to separate. Like that's the nuance, that's the gray area that people don't appreciate and understand. Like, oh well, you sold 1.4 million on eBay. Well, how much did you make? If I answer that, if I tell you, if I make a video and tell people what I made on my income tax filing, like do you want to go by income tax filing? How do you want to go? If I gave people all the information they ask for, it still doesn't mean that much. Because the next question, if people know enough to ask, well, how much of that was on consignment? How much of that was Patreon, YouTube? How much of that was actual flipping? It's hard. It's not even easy to access how much of that was flipping versus how much was like stored up capital gains. Because some amount of it is a little, like most of it is a little bit of both, right? Very, very hard to get at that answer. I mean, and you put that number out there, it doesn't benefit you. It can only hurt you. I know Terry Lake commented on that video. He's like, you really shouldn't put all that out there. There's not much to gain from it, and there's more to lose. Like, I fully understand where he's coming from, and I agree. But I put some out there. It's not going to be enough for everybody. If I put everything out there, if I filed my taxes with you and showed everyone everything, it wouldn't be enough for some people. Or there would be commentary. There would be this. There would be that. It's not worthwhile. But yeah, I didn't necessarily feel capped, but I knew I could do more in the now, and I could be happier in the now doing this. So it felt like one of those things that I don't know how long this is going to last. Get while the getting's good, ride the wave, whatever saying you want to go with. I did not feel capped or limited. I just felt like I had to ride the wave. I felt like I had to do this. It would have been one of those things like 10, 20. I never, and this is another thing I've talked about before, I never envisioned myself working where I did as I did for 50 years, or 40, 50 years, and retiring there. I never envisioned that. My dad has been self-employed most of his life. I knew, or I at least planned, somehow, some way to like do my own thing. Wouldn't have guessed it would have been eBay. Wouldn't have guessed it would have been eBay specifically with Pokemon. But here I am. Uh, Damn, Dan, you old as hell. Stop being so old. Coming up on 34. Oh yeah, catch 'em all cards. I'm familiar with that. All the memories stored in his database. What the hell is Dan going on about? He's malfunctioning. Oh man. Yeah, that was definitely the case, Bidman Bay, for sure. Freshman year, I mostly behaved. It was actually sophomore year. I started. I was pretty young. I was pretty young going into college. I graduated high school at 17. I didn't turn 21 until like a month or two before I graduated. So yeah, I was pretty young. I was mostly behaved in early college, but then sophomore, junior year was probably my worst year as far as beverage consumption goes. It was a good time. Skipping questions now. Where am I skipping questions? Shiny and Teleon had a question above. Is it a real question or a meme question? Shiny and Teleon. Where's Shiny and Teleon? If you're there, or if someone else is there and can copy and paste it, I do not see it. Um, PA Pokemon pulls just walked in. Quick question: do you think that One Piece craze is a fad like Lorcana, or do you think it's going to keep rolling with the hype? I talked about this in my market predictions video for 2024. I do not think what's happening with OPO5 specifically will sustain. It blows some people's minds, and some people are like, "Oh my god, like what are you talking about? To the moon with everything." It's like saying something won't go for quadruple wholesale price instantly is like causes an outrage among some people. I think I said One Piece will cool this year is my prediction. Cooling off of Red Hot, there's still a lot of room for it to do well. I don't know. I don't know anything about the whole IP. I don't know anything about it. I'm buying it. I'm selling it instantly. It's let me see. Yeah, I still don't see that question. So hopefully someone re-asks. King Ruborn says, "Hey, I wanted to ask if PSA Vintage are great long-term gain compared to modern PSA 10." I made a video. I made a video probably a year ago, maybe in the past year. Uh, Vintage Pokemon is too expensive. I titled it, I believe. I compared PSA 9 First Edition Umbreon from Neo Discovery to PSA 10 Moonbreon. It was a very deeply sarcastic video, and some people didn't catch on, which was funny. But if I had to buy and hold for years and years and years, there's very few, if any, ultra modern PSA 10 cards I would buy. It would almost be primarily vintage. That said, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't have to do it. I'm not doing it. I have some vintage that I'm selling slowly. I'm kind of pricing it high and letting it trickle out. But yeah, I would lean towards. I mean, some people hate it. Some people disagree with it. Older, rarer, minter, better. I mean, I think that's a pretty apt description of like how things actually do well, like what does well long term. Look at coins, look at comics, look at it's the historic, it's the first, it's the high condition, it's the scarcity, it's all those things. Uh if I missed any others. Yeah, I really didn't see that shiny Inteleon question. No, Mr. Walrus, that is not an ordeal I suffer through. The truth, I sold a trophy card to Rusty and was tired about hearing. Yeah, that is one Shiba coin, Shiba Inu coin, Dogecoin. That was another one. XRP, I forget what that one's even called. There's more that's not coming to memory, and it's funny. I had some of them too. Like I've dabbled in crypto. I've made a decent amount of money in Bitcoin. Not not like millions of dollars, not even hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I made five figures, nearing six figures probably on crypto. It's a lot of it unrealized gains still, but yeah, it proportional. Keep it all proportional. Like There are people sweating and worrying about MetaZoo more than I am as someone who has pallets of it. Like I have 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand in MetaZoo. I don't even know. Somewhere in there. And I'm not worrying about it as much as some people that have like 40 bucks in it or thinking about putting 40 bucks into it. Like what are we doing? Um People calling Lorcana a fad and not One Piece is unreal. Yeah, to me it's like I think both of them have a lot of risks of not being around in 5 years. Uh we'll see though. We'll like they're very new. Not every IP needs a TCG. Naruto is like a pretty big thing and it had a TCG and it went away. Dragon Ball Z has had various TCGs come and go. Not everything needs a TCG. Dan, if you would have liked your coworkers, would you have stayed longer? Why did you hate them? I liked a lot of them. Like I think I'm a pretty agreeable person. I think I get like going back high school, even these days. I am friends with some people in the PokeTube sphere. I'm friends with A and I'm friends with B, and A and B do not like each other. That's not a singular A and a singular B. That is multiple people. Back in high school, I used to have some friends with these people, friends with those people. Those people would not get along together. I feel like I'm just pretty easygoing overall. I did not like hate them whatsoever, but some of it was like it's sad. Like some of like great people just not educated well. I did my best from time to time. I would sometimes I would be outright asked. I'm one of the like I know finances are quite taboo. Sadly, most of the people who need the most help don't know enough to seek it or don't care enough to seek it. They don't know what they don't know, so they don't know to seek it. Um, so sadly, you can't even reach most people. But being an engineer there, most of the people that I was like, even where I used to work, I was actually one of my biggest uh pros as an engineer. I think like kind of like clicky, the engineers and the production guys. I was a good go between. Like I was friends with a lot of the engineers. I was friends with a lot of the production guys. I used to eat lunch with some of the engineers. I used to eat lunch with a lot of the production guys too. I had really good relationships, better than most engineers did with their operators. So yeah, it's like sometimes it's the best thing, sometimes it's the worst thing. But there were instances where I didn't want to feel like, oh yeah, the engineer he makes more money, he has it easier, talking down. Like I didn't want any of that coming. Kind of the same things that come from having a channel. I mean, some amount of people think I'm flexing, think I'm doing whatever when I make videos about what I've sold, and that's not the intent whatsoever. I'm actually trying to educate, entertain, inform, whatever it may be. I think I could do a lot of good with a personal finance channel, just talking about things that you were never taught in school, talking about things that I've sought out. I've had people teach me along the way that you might never learn. And sadly, again, the people that need that most are not watching. The people that need that most are not seeking that information out. So you'll never capture them all. Like I have this idea that I might be able to help more people with stuff like that, but I will mostly help out the people who are trying to help themselves the most and are already on a good path. I will just help. And same thing goes for a lot of this too, I think. A lot of this information isn't actioned. A lot of this information, like the people who actually might need it most, probably aren't even seeing it. These channels don't get that big. My ceiling is very low for this type of content. Even though some amount of people watching other channels purely for entertainment, like yeah, they're getting the entertainment, but they might really benefit. And yeah, I'm not saying my channel, different types of channel, different goals, different whatever. But I still I actually I talked to I talked to a couple engineers. I actually we every couple months we'll get together for lunch or we'll get together. It's tough now because I'm working days. We used to get together for lunch. I'm like anytime, anywhere. Let me know. My boss is cool with it. But it's harder now. We need to get together after their work, after during my work because I'm working nights now. Can't bring my daughter. We usually go out to like a brewery type place, get a beverage or two, and then some food. No need to answer my question. Oh, I did answer your question. I skipped first grade, so I graduated 1 year early. I skipped first grade. Oh, I got it. I had skipped it. Okay, I was gonna say because everything looks like it's grayed out. I think I got everything. What was the biggest Mason? What was the biggest song from the year you graduated? Dan needs to get his eyes checked. What would a better business choice be? Again, there's no universal better. There is no. Either could be fine. Either could do well. Vintage modern single, card sales, or sealed sales. Either. What makes you happier? Which one will purely from a dollars and cents make more money? That's not necessarily better. It all depends on what you have, what knowledge you have, what access to like inventory. There's no guaranteed answer there. Do I have a gambling budget? I don't really have a firm gambling budget per se. Usually, like if I go to the casino with the gang, I will have a number. It's like a big number, too big of a number of like I will not lose more than this. When I went to Pokemon Saves the World in Vegas, I left a decent amount of money there. I stayed under what I was willing to lose. When Nick came and we went to the Turning Stone, I had a number that I didn't go over. When I do my fantasy football, when I do my betting apps on here, I have numbers. Like if I run out of what I put in for an NFL season, I will not put more money in. I've not gotten to that yet. It's only been legal for 1 year, and I've just had a really lucky good year that's not going to sustain. I know I'm going to lose money eventually, but overall, like I'm very positive in all the apps I'm in. My fantasy football though, for the past 15 years, like I'm way negative in that. But yeah, it's not like a firm number, but per instance, per occurrence, probably would be a firm thing, I guess. If more when I start losing because it's inevitable long like I'm not I'm not I'm mostly making a little bit of money off all the promotions, all the free money they're giving you, and then I've gotten a couple lucky big hits here and there. But once the free money dries up and I start like dwindling my money down, I'll just really lower my bets. I'll really slow it down, or I'll go from betting a little bit every week to maybe just once a month and do more focused bets on games I'm actually watching. But I really enjoy sports. I really enjoy having a little skin in the game. Fun. If you're thinking about putting $40 into MetaZoo, you need to reflect on your life choices. There's no such thing as 60 grand worth of MetaZoo. Oh man. Being friends with both sides A and B is massive snake vibes. People are so weird about stuff like that. Like there are people in the Pokemon space that get into some of the like high, it's like is this high school? Some people like I can talk with and be cordial with people that I don't agree with on everything. Like some people just get so petty. Some people get so uh people get so weird when like 95%, 90%, even 50% of what we enjoy and a lot of overlap, a lot of agreement on a lot of things, but people will find the 1%, 5%, 10%, 50% and focus solely on what divides us, what makes us different. Again, I'm a butcher at quotes, but Mewtwo had a great quote. Let me like people find the 1% difference and just draw a line in the sand. You're on this side. You're on this side. Us versus them. With not everyone with everything, but some people do it with everything. I'm gonna look up the Mewtwo quote. I really like that quote. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. That really doesn't apply that much. I thought it was going to apply a little bit more. But some people take the gift of life they're given and they just like division everywhere. Like us versus them, everything. So much of that is in politics. So much of that is in like I want it in my sports. Like on a not very serious thing. Like I'm a Jets fan. I have Patriots fans, friends. I married a Cowboys fan. I'm not a big fan of the Cowboys. Uh, Next to the Patriots, they're my next least favorite team. So it's not like that big of a deal. more of a thing that just makes it more entertaining, more fun. But some people just take it all way too far. They take it way too seriously. Like it's Pokemon. It's not that deep. And even though politics can touch on some things that do get a fair bit deeper, some people just take it way. It's not that deep still. Like yeah, not gonna go too much deeper there. Is your favorite Batman villain Two-Face? Uh, the people who need that most are not watching, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. It there are definitely some people that do come, and I actually I do on occasion get a message from somebody like, hey, here's my 90-day 2 years ago when I found your channel. Here's my 90-day today. Like I've been following what you've been saying. I don't really comment much. I just lurk, and I get occasional consults where they every year they do a quick hour-long consult with me, and we go over like what they've done and my ideas towards what I do. And I really like it does happen a little bit here and there. What percentage it is, how many lurkers are out there that don't ever leave that comment? Like those comments are very much appreciated when they come. But so that's being a bit too broad with it. Like there are absolutely some people who are in bad financial spots. They find Dave Ramsey. A lot of people actually. I probably was wrong to say that the way that I did. There are people. There are a lot of those people who need to hear it but never will because they'll never look for it. But there are also a lot of people that do find Dave Ramsey. They find Graham Stephan. They find Andre Jick. They find the Caleb Hammer Show, and they actually turn things around. And to think that I can make videos, I can rant and ramble about whatever and educate somebody, entertain somebody. Like there are definitely things in the DMs too. I have a little bit more tax talk, a little bit more finance talk with people. There are definitely people who are like, wow, I've never thought about that. I never heard about it. When I talked earlier about Roth versus traditional IRAs, I'm sure that at least one person, like a few hundred people will watch it this far in. Maybe 1,000 people, 1,500 people will watch the whole thing. Few count, but maybe only a few hundred making it to the end. If one person optimizes their situation, they get their financial situation better, having heard that, go research, go look deeper into something. Like, I think that makes it all worth it. I'm having a good time now. 40, 50 people watching. Hopefully here having a good time. Hopefully not hate watching. I think it's all worthwhile. And I really want to do it with finance at some point because I'm just here sharing my thoughts, sharing my journey, sharing my business. I want to do the same thing with finance. Very big part of my life. I think it's a mandatory part. Like love it or hate it. Some people very anti-capitalism, very whatever. Again, getting more like towards politics. We are in the system that we're in. You were dealt the hands you were dealt. So, some people spend their whole life externalizing they had it easier, XYZ, whatever, completely like victim everything. I am here to show you my situation. This is what I have. This is what I'm doing. If you can glean anything from that, be it entertainment, be it education, be it whatever, like that's my goal. That's my hope. Oh man. I look forward to partying with consumption self-control Dan. It'll be nice to see him cut back to 12 IPAs instead of the usual 24. Is the ridiculousness of Pokemon TCG drama any more different than the ridiculousness of adult political drama? No, it's literally everywhere. Actually, my beer steins. Let me pull your comment. My beer steins are up here. Recently, back right around Christmas, I went to a Christmas party for like that circle, that group of people. I did not know it had happened, but there was like a fracture amongst some of that community. Like there was just some division, side A, side B, and it's a little bit weird going to some of the shows, to some of the get-togethers that they have. So, some people aren't there anymore. Some new people are there, whatever. But it's like whether you're in racquetball, whether you're in a Stein club, whether you're in Pokemon, whether you're in whatever you're in, there's gonna be people fighting. There's gonna be people. There's gonna be some people are just that way, and I do my best to not get I know Brad's gonna call cap here, but I do not try to engage excessively in the drama. I definitely consume more of it than I should probably. I definitely contribute. I'm not a infallible person. I definitely contribute some amount to it myself, surely. But it's just like, yeah, it's not. I don't know. I don't really watch any of those. Like, there's so many shows out there that they're just a circus. They're just like showing these reality TV, but it's actually just scripted circus. And some people genuinely live that though. Like, some people, that is their reality, and I know some of those people for sure. But yeah, not big on the drama and all that. But I'm very apolitical, very just like I know so many friends and family members, especially the last couple of years. Things got very political tensions and everything got very. I think it's getting worse every year. I think the pandemic really accelerated a lot of it, but I'm just not here for any of it. Drama is humans being humans, absolutely. I've been in for 2 years and I still don't know who the cabal leader is. Me neither. I followed you and got into MetaZoo. My 90 days down. I'm gonna tax you every time you talk about tax. I'm gonna be broke. WTF do Stein people have drama about? My cup is better. No, mine is. Hey, talking about cup drama. I mean, all this Stanley Cup stuff. I have no idea what any of that's about. I know that it permeated the PokeTube space a little bit. We had a couple of our PokeTubers make some Stanley Cup drama videos, and I know little to nothing about it, but it's a thing apparently. Yeah, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to talk about what I'm doing. If people enjoy that, which they seem, some amount of people seem to enjoy that, so I'm gonna be here, Mr. Consistency, hopefully into the future, as far as I can see. I cannot see very far into the future, but I expect to be here at least the next few years. 2 to 5 years, very solidly likely. If you would ask me though 2 years before I went full time, like, is there any, you're gonna be engineering, you're gonna be I probably would have said there's a solid chance of that. So who knows? Who knows where life is gonna take me? But for here and now, I'm right here. So yeah, that's it. Pokemon channel primarily. A little bit of Mezu, a little bit of lawn mowing, a little bit of food, whatever. Thoughts on homies helping out and you not answering DMs? Let me look at my DMs quick. I have a couple marked unread on Discord that I need to get back to, but I did read them. I actually have a few Instagram DMs I have to read, but thoughts on homies helping out and you not answering DMs. I hope that's not me. I hope I'm not being accused of leaving someone on red. I hope you're just vaguely maybe stirring up a little drama at someone who's leaving you on red. But some people in the Stein community didn't get their special edition Stanley Cups and got salty. Um, I think I'm gonna call it there. That's a solid full 2 hours. That's plenty. I think it was 2 weeks ago that I did like a 3 hour one out of nowhere. But I had no planned topic for the night. I don't even remember what we talked about. It went by in a blur. This is only Gatorade in here. I swear I'm not under the influence, but we were all over the place as always. Um, do the normal stuff. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, sub, all that good stuff. 41 people here. You probably all already are. But sent it 2 weeks ago. It's all you. I knew. I'll look into that. I knew you had sent me something. Maybe I missed that. I think yeah, I apologize, Mr. Walrus. Last I knew, there was like an interim thing. I did not see this final message. It was sent on, yeah, 10 days ago. I apologize for that, Mr. Walrus. That is fully on me. I'm going to immediately deal with this deal with this DM. I apologize and I appreciate you. But yeah, with that, I will call it a night. I appreciate everyone watching. I will catch you all later.